What's banging YouTube? It's the OG Bloodshot Red coming at you with another one. For everybody that's new to my channel, I was recently released from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, June 14th, 2023, after serving 3 decades. I was initially sentenced to a 20-year sentence for robbery. I was also sentenced to a life sentence for possession of a controlled substance with the intent to deliver. Those 2 sentences were ran concurrent. Upon receiving those sentences, I assaulted my attorney in the courtroom and was eventually sentenced to an additional 10 years that was actually stacked on top of those previous 2 sentences. While waiting in a county jail to be transferred to Texas Department of Criminal Justice, I was in a physical altercation with a patrolman off the street, which I was then sentenced to an additional 25-year sentence, 25-year sentence that was actually stacked on top of the 10. Before I was able to become a free man, I had to actually make parole on each one of those sentences consecutively. And it took me 3 decades to do it. But I sit here today, a free man. Well, today, I want to ask a question. Has any of you out there watching ever heard of the saying, self-preservation is the first law of nature? Well, if you have, I want to kind of give some clarity on what that actually means and how that goes against the ideology of loyalty. So my understanding of self-preservation being the first law of nature is at any given time when we find ourselves in danger or some type of a conflict or challenged, the initial thought will be self-preservation. Now, that's not to say that we won't, help somebody that's in need, set our own, fears aside and help somebody. But that initial thought will be self-preservation. And the story that I have for you today is a personal experience with that. So I just want y'all to sit back and let me lace y'all up on something. The time that this incident happened, I was in my 21st year in prison. I had recently been released from administrative segregation for the 3rd time. My first time I did 4 years in administrative segregation for assault on an officer. The second time I went, it was assault on an inmate causing injury beyond first aid. And the 3rd time, it was assault on an officer causing injury beyond first aid. I had to do 4 years the first time, 2 years the second time, and this time, the last time that I speak of now, I did 7.5 years. Being released from administrative segregation, I was transferred to the John B. Conley unit in Kennedy, Texas. It was my 2nd time being on that unit, and both times it was not real good. It was hell. So going back, I was a little bit upset about it. But it's just how time, how you do time in prison. You don't get to, choose where you want to go. So going back, it was a lot of guys there that I knew, a lot of guys that I had made bonds with, a lot of guys that I had professed to have loyalty to and who professed to have loyalty to me. Well, I had just came off of a 5-year set off. I wasn't able to see parole the first time until my 15th year had been served. And while in SIG, I had got a 5-year set off. I was released from SIG, came to John B. Conley unit, and was given another interview. And I was given another set off. One of my cellmates had asked me about seeing a parole commissioner, which I knew nothing about. I didn't know anything about seeing a parole commissioner. Parole really wasn't that big of a deal to me because, once I made parole on one sentence, I had to do another and then another. And it was just so out of reach that the idea of it really didn't resonate with me. I was just living day to day in prison, doing what I wanted to do. But when he told me about seeing the parole commissioner, it kind of gave me a different outlook, because the commissioner is one of the voters on the actual parole board. So my next time seeing the parole officer, I asked him, was I eligible? And sure enough, I was, because any inmate who has served 20 years or more is eligible to see the parole commissioner. So I saw the parole commissioner. We talked. And he interviewed me thoroughly, not like the regular interviews that they usually give us. He thoroughly interviewed me. I presented all of my paperwork and whatnot, and he told me, I'd be looking for an answer within like maybe 30 days or so, 30 to 45 days. So I was like, okay. About a week after that, I was standing in the day room, and I was affiliated. I was gang affiliated, extremely active, and I was housed. For all of those that know, who've been to John B. Conley unit or even been to a 2250 unit, I was housed on 8 building, 2 section, J-Pod. As a matter of fact, 29 cell. And I had a homeboy that was on 1 section named Chaos, and believe me, his name fit. He was chaotic. He was extremely chaotic. And so while we were in the day room, if you know how the day room is, laid out, no need to explain. If not, I'm gonna try to give you somewhat of a picture. It's 3 small pods, 24 cells on each pod, 48 people in each section. Big glass windows, you can see out, you can see into the other section. Doors connect each section, 1, 2, and 3. Little glass window, you can see through it. You can communicate to the people in 1 section. They can communicate to us, and we can communicate to the people in 3 sections. So you can see everything that's going on. Well, this particular day, everybody, you had your chess games going on. You had your dominoes. You had, the TVs going, ESPN on 1 TV, Supernatural on the other TV. If you know, you know. And all at once, a ruckus started on 1 section. So just being veterans and knowing, how it goes, nobody runs to the window to see what's going on. We all just caught the wall, all the Blacks, Bloods, and Crips caught the wall. All the Hispanics, Tongo Blast, they caught the wall, and all the Woods, they caught the wall. And eventually, officers came in and rounded everybody up on 1 section, racked them up, came over to our section, racked us up, and did the same with 3 section. Nobody on my section that I knew of knew what had happened. Nobody on 3 section, as far as I knew of, knew what had happened. So later on at night, a SSI came by, which is a sanitary service inmate, cleans up, mops floors, helps pass out, necessities and things like that. Slid a kite, small note, under my cell door and told me it was from Chaos. So I read it, and what had happened was there were 2 guys, Black, that lived on 1 section, that was housed on 1 section. And they were in a relationship with each other. And so neither one of them was gang affiliated. They, did their own thing. But come to find out, they were doing a lot of PDA in the day room. So the guy for Tongo who held the keys, named Flacco, made a comment about them going to their cell instead of doing all of that in the day room. And one of the guys that was in the relationship called Flacco out, and they got in a fight. Now in Texas, it's a little different than other places, I'm assuming. In Texas, we pride ourselves on, being able to hold our own in the paint. It just is what it is, And if a riot jump off, all that goes, out the window. But if somebody initially calls you out for a fade, you got to stand on your own too before anybody gonna stand with you. That's just how it is in prison here. So Flacco, tall, lanky Mexican guy, kind of good with his hands. But now this other cat, regardless of what his lifestyle was, he's still a man. And you got to approach it like he's a man. And so they started fighting. And from, what I was told in the kite, the Black dude dropped Flacco and then started to kick Flacco and jumped on Flacco, which is a no-no, because in a fair one, you drop him, you got to let him up. You drop him, you got to let him up. That's just the rules, how it goes. If not, all rules are out the window, and that's exactly what happened. So there was a big melee. Well, before the melee, when the black dude dropped Flacco, Chaos ran to try to stop him from doing what he was doing. And that's actually when everything just happened. And, Chaos got, beat up pretty bad because he was at the bottom of the pile. So he was asking me, was he wrong or was he right? Me, with my false sense of loyalty, because I had loyalty in who I was and what I was and everybody that was associated with me, I was loyal. I, told him the next day, actually, not in the kite, the next day, actually, because we came out, they let us up. We came out and I was talking to him through the door and he asked me, was he wrong? And I told him, I say, look, man, wrong or right, man, I'm standing with you, man. It's on you. I'm gonna let you make the call. If y'all want to do something, we're gonna do something. If y'all don't want to do nothing, we ain't gonna do nothing. And the reason why, I didn't feel not one punch. Y'all was the ones over there in the melee or whatever. You one got black eyes and bust lips and stuff. I say, man, so if y'all set it off over there, best believe we're gonna set it off over here. Braeswood gonna set it off on 3 sections. Just is what it is. So it's on y'all. So he was like, all right, man, all right, that's a bet. Let me see what's up. So we wait, about, 30, 45 minutes. He come back and he tells me, he say, man, I want to get my get back. So I'm like, I'm down with you, but y'all got to set it off over there. We're not going to set it off over here until it's set off over there. So he's like, all right. So we leave. So he come back. He tells me, he says, man, we just saw the commissioner. We're waiting on answers. And my false sense of loyalty. First, let me say this. Self-preservation popped in my head before anything. I have to be honest. When he reminded me that I had just seen the commissioner, knowing that this was an opportunity like no other opportunity to see the commissioner and have him actually make a decision on me making parole or not making parole was man, huge. But just like my self-preservation jumped in, my false sense of loyalty overpowered that. And I told Chaos, I said, look, man, if that made that much importance to us, man, we wouldn't be running around here active right now. I say, so, man, I ain't worried about all that, man. It's whatever. But it was inside of me, man. I was in turmoil. Man, but I had to save face. That was pride that was acting up. That was a false sense of loyalty that was acting up. That was just pure ignorance that was acting up. And at the time, when you have this learned behavior that we've developed from kids about not being punked or about, not backing down or about, not compromising, these are the type of results and the type of decisions that we make. So Chaos was like, man, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, man. So he walks away from the door. I walk away from the door. I go relay everything to my homies and stuff, right? So we just sitting up there chilling. We just waiting on them. We strapped or whatever, and we just sitting up there waiting on what's going to happen. All we need to do is just see some action on one section and it's going down. Well, Chaos comes back to the door, knocks on the door. I come over. I say, what's up? He said, man, these dudes over here really not ready, man. They not ready. He said, man, kids over here, man. He said, man, I'm standing up here right now strapped. I'm ready to poke something. These dudes over here playing. They acting like ain't nothing even happened yesterday, man. I'm all beat up and stuff, man. He say, man, but, man, I'm trying to go home. And for me, man, for him to say that, for Chaos to say that, I really felt kind of bad about myself because in that situation, he showed me that he was more of a man as far as responsibility wise than I was. Because I wasn't man enough to voice my opinion and tell him, look, man, I'm trying to go home. But by him saying that, man, it really opened my eyes to something. And I told him, I said, well, okay, man, then if that's your decision, that's my decision too. And the crazy thing is this. About 30 to 45 days later, man, I came in from the yard, took my shower, went into my cell, and there was a small folded up piece of paper on my desk. And if you're waiting on parole, you already know what that is. I mean, if you're actually waiting on parole, you know what that small piece of paper on your desk or when they give it to you, you already know what it is. Man, I sit down at my desk, heart beating, man. I'm talking about pumping. I mean, this is everything. You know, parole on this life sentence, and I start this next sentence. It's still a long walk, but to make parole off this life sentence, man. So, you know, I turn the light on, man. I sit there for a minute, heart beating, man, palms kind of sweating and stuff, you know. Man, I open that letter up, and the first thing it said, parole granted. Begin next sentence. And that's how close I came, man, to messing off everything. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. Y'all gotta excuse me. But yeah, for real, man. You know, I made parole on that life sentence, and I started my 10. And I started in my mind and in my heart. I started a new journey. You know, it was hard. It was a hard transition because you know when you act a certain way for so long, it's like a natural reaction now to react a certain way, and it was hard. You know, but I sat here like I said, a free man with a whole new life. You know, with a second chance at it, and I just want y'all to know, man. You know. Even if you free and ain't never been to prison, man, I'm crying and everything, but it's just real. It's real. It's real, man. It's the same thing. I just want y'all to know, man. It's time to get yourself together, man. You know, you're out there running with them gangs and, you know, just doing, you know, just this madness, man. It's just like, it ain't even worth it, man. I feel so good right now, man. You know, with a wife, kids, responsibilities, job, something I thought I wasn't going to never see again. Buried alive. I was buried alive, man. So I just want y'all to, you know, just listen to this, man, and you know, make your own decisions, man. But I'm just here to just try to let you know, man, that you know, put yourself in the best situation, man. Always make the right decision and put yourself in the best situation, bro. You know, put your loyalty in nobody. Put your loyalty in yourself, man. Make a decision because you want to, not because somebody else wants you to. Man, you know, I just hope somebody got something out of this, man. I hope y'all hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell, man, and leave something in the comments for me, man. You know, I'm just starting out. You know, take a whole bunch for me to, you know, set up here and do this. This me, but I want it to be me. And I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all, man. What's banging? Peace out.